All right, let's talk about muscles. Not just lifting weights, but what's really going on deep inside. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of your muscle fibers, the tiny engines that power literally everything you do. But, to get started, let's talk about Thanksgiving. Seriously, have you ever actually stopped and wondered why a turkey has both dark meat and white meat? You've seen it a million times, right? Well, it turns out the answer to that question is the key to unlocking a huge secret about our own bodies. So yeah, we're calling this the turkey test. And it's pretty cool because if you can figure out what's up with this one bird, you can basically understand the two main types of muscle that power, well, pretty much all of us. All right, so let's get right into it. The big reveal is this. Your body doesn't just have one kind of muscle. Nope. It's actually got this incredible system with two totally different players, and each one is a specialist, built for a very specific job. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You've got two different athletes living inside you. You've got the marathoner, and you've got the sprinter. Your red fibers, those are your marathoners, built for the long haul, for endurance. And the white fibers? Totally different. They're your sprinters, all about short, explosive bursts of pure speed and power. So, okay, what's the difference? What actually makes them so different? To figure that out, we've got to pop the hood, look inside, and see how these things are wired at the cellular level. It all comes down to their anatomy. So first up, there's this really important protein called myoglobin. And you can just think of it as a tiny little oxygen tank packed inside each muscle cell. This stuff is the key. It's what gives red muscle its color. So, it's simple. The more myoglobin you have, the more oxygen you can store, and the redder that muscle is going to be. And then there's the other piece of the puzzle, mitochondria. You probably remember these guys from high school bio, right? They're the power plants of the cell. Their whole job is to take that oxygen the myoglobin is holding onto and just churn out energy, a nice, steady stream of it. And that's the bottom line. Without oxygen, you're not getting any of that long-term power. So when you put those two things together, it all just clicks. The red fibers are red because they are packed with myoglobin and absolutely loaded with mitochondria. They run on what's called an aerobic process. That just means with oxygen to give you that sustained energy. And the white fibers? They're the complete opposite. They're pale because they have hardly any myoglobin, way fewer mitochondria, and they use an anaerobic process, meaning without oxygen, for those quick bursts. And I mean, just look at the difference here. It's huge. The red fibers are absolutely stuffed to the gills with these little power plants, just ready to burn oxygen for hours on end. The white fibers, though, they've only got a few. They're just not built for that kind of marathon. They're designed to burn their fuel super fast and super hard, and then they're done. So, you take all that biology we just talked about, and what do you get? You get two totally different results. It really just boils down to one simple trade-off: endurance versus power. Okay, so let's break it down. Your red fibers, those are your endurance engines. All that myoglobin and all those mitochondria, it just means they're super efficient at using oxygen to create a steady flow of energy. They can just keep going and going and going without getting tired. Yep, think long-distance running. And the white fibers, pure, raw power. They don't bother with oxygen for energy, which lets them contract with unbelievable speed and force. But, and this is the big trade-off, they burn out just as fast. We're talking about lifting something really heavy or an all-out 100-meter sprint. All right, this is all really cool science, but let's bring it back to where we started. Remember the turkey? It's time to finally solve the turkey test and figure out why any of this actually matters. And here is the answer. The dark meat in a turkey's legs is dark because it's crammed with those red endurance fibers. And why? Well, think about it. Turkeys are on their feet all day, just walking and standing around. That takes endurance. But the white meat in the breast? That's packed with the white power fibers. Turkeys can't fly for long, right? But they use those muscles for these short, powerful bursts to get away from a predator. It's endurance versus power, literally served up on your dinner plate. And listen, this isn't just a fun little fact about turkeys. This is a really elegant principle of how life is designed. The body is just so smart. It perfectly matches the muscle type to the job it needs to do. And that's not just true for a turkey. It's absolutely true for you too. So that brings us to the final question, really. A question for you. Every time you exercise, you're actually making a choice. Are you training your marathoners or your sprinters? You know, that long run you go on? That's a workout for your red fibers. Those heavy lifts at the gym or those all-out sprints? That's a wake-up call for your white fibers. So think about it. The next time you work out, which ones are you training?